power accounts for close to 40% of the additional cost of production. We've done that so well, not in all sectors. But what's interesting is, despite that, a lot of companies are making so much money, but some are affected. So what we have done, I think the last thing I did as Minister of Finance was this gazette that came out when I was Minister of Industry. And the idea, after meeting with the industry, was to say, if you are providing the infrastructure that government should have provided, government will give you relief for providing that infrastructure, the cost of that. So we have that now as a relief to them. Because I was also keen to promote employment, I added something on employment review. If we employ more than 10 people in a particular year, you get a percentage. But I scaled that up. If those 10 people stay for more than a year or 2 years plus, you get additional. So it's not a matter of recruiting people this year and suddenly bringing them again next year. You have to demonstrate that they remain employed for a period of time. And that is one thing that was gazetted I think last year. And companies need to be aware that we've thought about that and we provided some relief to them. Another thing which you need to be aware is that there are 2 engines for economic activity in terms of expenditure: public and private. Government expenditure and private sector expenditure. For government procurement, we have a margin of preference for goods that are produced in Nigeria because of that as well. So today, that margin of preference is 15%. If company A produces this pen in Nigeria and company B imports it, if the cost of the B of the company produced in Nigeria is 15% higher or less, and it's as good as that, they get it. Yes, from the government, not government procurement. We are in the process of reviewing that to see whether it should be 15, 20, 30, or 40. Now, we're not the only countries doing it. Brazil did it for their automobile. Their margin of preference for automobile sector in Brazil is 25%. So it's not countries do it. So those are some of the things we have done. In addition, you'll see a new policy coming out, which is leveraging on us assets what we have. Government procurement must create jobs for Nigerians. And what it means is that if you want to create jobs for Nigerians, you prioritize goods that are produced locally. And that, in a way, will create jobs locally. We have to, my job as government official, or minister, is to create jobs, is to increase the income per capita of my people, and increase government revenue so I can build more roads. Your job is to make high returns for your investors. Yeah, we have to face, I'm a private sector person, so I don't need to tell you come and invest because I want you to create jobs. It doesn't work. It has to be symbiotic relationship, it has to be a win-win relationship. But what I am telling you today is that it is one of the first times that you have a strong alignment between government interest and private sector interest. Where, yes, government says I want to provide jobs, but you are going to make money in the process as well. So there's a strong alignment. That's the message I'm getting across to you. I'm not asking for favors. There's money to be made. Your point about the paper industry, or the publishing industry, you talk about paper? Yes, we were paper media. By the way, for those who do not know, the Safari Executive Chairman is actually a chief in Nigeria, and OON as well. So it's a proper Nigerian princess in Nigeria. But what it tells you, in another way, you see, when you look at a cup, you say it's half full or half empty. When you talk to the Japanese and they talk about their program, in every crisis, there are many, many opportunities. All he has just told you is there's so much opportunity to invest in paper media in Nigeria. That's what he has said. The fact that you are importing Most of that, just like I said, sugar import, you were importing 97% of sugar produced in Nigeria. At the time we were importing all that, we were heavily importing nation, and that's what we are correcting now. He went further. He didn't say, because he's a publisher. I'm not sure if you understand investor, but he's a publisher. When he talked about, he didn't link it. He sold everything about coming to invest in publishing in Nigeria. He says, you import everything. Yes, opportunity. He says, the primary school education, 35 million people. There's market for it. He says, secondary education, 50 million people. Oh, more market for it. Post-education, all those people need books. They need all those things, and that means there's money to be made in publishing in Nigeria. So if there are publishers here, you should be coming to establish in Nigeria. That's the message. And then when you know that in addition, we are publishing books all over. State governments are buying those all over the place. I spoke to some of them, but I'm aware of the issue. I have met with them, with a group, and I'm meeting with them again. We're doing it in Facebook. We've dealt with sugar into sugar. We're dealing with automobile, which we'll have very soon. Textile we're working on. Iron ore metals we're working on. Aluminium we're working on. Paper and paper mills are the next level. So we have things to. So I'm aware of the problem, and we're going to deal with it. And they will benefit from it. I know most of them go to publishing at the time in China, but now they go to India, and they go to Dubai. So I'm aware. As an industry minister, I know my industry very well and what they're doing. So we are addressing that the rest assured. But what I want to say is that what you have said, like in many areas, is the only opportunities we have in the country, in many of the areas. You talked briefly about security. It's interesting. On my way I was going to Australia to meet, have an investment forum. I was in London when they called me and said, oh, don't go, because there was a bomb, something, UN bombing. So you have to come back. Because how do you sell the country? And I said, no, I went to Australia. The first day, when they have enough people, the third day, in the Australian newspapers, they had arrested 6 or 8 terrorists in Perth. The point, and the third day, once they got to hear the story about Nigeria, we were having, in fact, we couldn't take all the meetings. The room was filled completely. The fact is that not many people know enough about what I have said to you today. Even in Japan, that I would have just come back yesterday night, they do not know what I just told you. We need to get that story, and we've done it. So because we made it. The story is compelling. There's nobody here that knows money that will not follow it. It is very simple. Now the point I mean is that security has become a global issue. So even that same week, Australia was having the same thing. You go to America, you had the UK, it's all over the place. We live in a new world today where security is a global problem, which all of us have to address, and which we address. The important thing in Nigeria is that we're taking steps, and the steps are yielding results. And we're taking different approaches to it. Direct attack, but also we are communicating with them. And they're yielding results. And don't forget that Nigeria is a very large country. Our day-to-day, 36 states plus FCT. When you look at this, when you look at some of this problem, it's very isolated. You can actually say, okay, these are the states, but not everywhere in the states. So the most important thing is that investors, I keep on saying, are looking for risk-adjusted returns. That's their bottom line. And with their assets and the money be safe in the country. Once you can do that, they're okay with it. Only last week, a delegation of about 35 investors came in from Brazil. We took them they came to Abuja, they went to a few states in the country. In the next week or the week after, my colleague in Brazil, Fernando, is coming with another 50 investors, again from Brazil. Not too long ago, the president of Brazil came with about maybe 60 or so plus investors to the country. The president of Indonesia came with a delegation of more than 100 people to the country. The president of Poland came with another businessman. Why is all this happening? So what I'm saying, we have never ever had a number of trade nations, investment nations in the country as we have today, ever, in spite of what you hear. So when you speak to investors, what you hear is different. When you speak to policymakers and government, you talk about security issues. But it's the two do not appear to be speaking the same language. And I can understand that. But I do admit that there are some issues, and I do say that we are addressing them and our approaches and yielding the right resource for the country. Oh, this is a temporary thing that will go away very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I don't know if I get to take one or two from the floor. Is there anybody with a serious question? Okay, I think I'll just take the gentleman. Okay, I'll take the two first gentlemen and the lady. So please, you can you talk for me? Thank you.
My name is Ekman. I work for Fidelity Bank and I'm on the board of Nigerian Chamber of Commerce. First of all, my comments will be with regard to presentation by Mr. Ban here, that's the Director of National Trade or International Enterprise and the Dutch Minister of Foreign Affairs. He mentioned some initiatives from his ministry to support bilateral trade. But I can assure you that such sentiments are not pervasive amongst their colleagues. And I'll give you two instances to buttress my own position. One is that over the last 6 years, for instance, in your trade office in Nigeria, it has been only one individual at a time manning a trade office. And I've seen Elizabeth Van Loon here, who was at one point the economic officer, and she was alone. At another point before her, it was Mr. Bronga, and today it is Mrs. Ward. So that does not show that clearly that we want to support that trade. Two, you have shut down your consular services in Nigeria. In Abuja, it is the Belgian embassy that handles their consular services. In Lagos, it is the French embassy that handles their consular services. As we speak, 18 members of the Nigerian Netherlands Chamber of Commerce have their visas stock or their passports stock in the French embassy, and they are not able to get here because the French people were issuing visas and handling passports of people who were going to France. So clearly, that cannot be the way to support the trade. So
yes,
if the volumes of trade are coming down, as the Honorable Minister had said, it is not surprising. If your colleagues are waiting for the time that all the roads in Nigeria will be smooth, when there will be 24-hour power supply, and when there will be no security challenges, that time will come. But by the time it arrives, nobody will need the Dutch investor. Thank you.
yes, exactly.
Hello, my name is Anita Morgan. I would like to also say a big thank you for this opportunity and the opportunity to meet such dignitaries. Well, I'm from a very, very big industry in Nigeria, and my question is to the Honorable Minister. My question is, Nollywood is a very, very popular industry in the world today. Is there ever any plans to assist us in selling Nollywood to the outside world? Because right now we have 200 million support from the government, but we still need a lot of support from the outside world. Do you ever have any plans for this? Thank you very much.
Then the last man, please, in that order, at the back, yes.
My name is Mr. Bergman. I would like to ask a question to the Minister. I'm already investing in Nigeria, but I have one problem. that's skilled labor. I mean, information communication technology, and it's really, really hard to find good people. We select them mostly if they studied abroad, we will select them if they studied in Nigeria. Mostly they are not good enough. What is the ministry's vision on education?
Thank you. Right? That's it.
Just lift your hand.
Thank you very much. Just because of the time. Yes. Please, let's make the answers very short.
Of course, I'm very sorry to learn that more than 80 Nigerian entrepreneurs were not able to come to the European Union. I will look into this issue, and but the technicalities are also that we submit Schengen visas. So I will look into that. I very much disagree with you on the priority that we give to Nigeria. We have two offices. We have one in Lagos. We have one in Abuja. Tomorrow the minister will meet with his counterpart, and they will also discuss the opportunity of her to visit Nigeria. So on that issue I very much disagree, and we will also keep those offices open in Nigeria.
Thank you very much. That's very great. Honorable Minister, we have the local and the state level. In addition, Honorable Minister, for the sake of the diaspora, what policy can the government put in place to actually recruit directly as well between professional, skilled labor Nigerians in the diaspora, maybe during the December census can be here, just to support them to the trade?
Right, okay. Your first question, yes, your first question was trade and visa, and the priority which the Dutch government has given to the economic office in Nigeria. I am aware of one or two of the points raised already, and they will be on the agenda when I meet with the minister tomorrow. On your question about Nollywood, the Nollywood is very important to us. It employs a lot of young people, and if well harnessed and done properly, is also good for the image of the country in terms of promoting the image of Nigeria internationally. And right from the president down to where the president is your number one fan. That's what I want to show you. If the president is your number one fan, then you know you're in good position. As you know, when I was Minister of Finance, we assigned about $200 million to that sector. There are reasons, in terms of accessing it, it has been slower than we expected. And the reason for that is that they're not good people. We need to organize ourselves properly. They're highly talented people, creative people, but not necessarily businessmen so you need to organize yourself in a way that you can access it. Because anyone giving you a loan expects to recover it.
Yes.
And we decided to work with you and with Lagos Business School to work with you to help people to gather bankable business plans. And once people are willing to do that, then of course it will increase their chances of accessing that. But in addition to that, you will recall that recently the president himself announced a grant scheme again for that sector. That is a grant, that's not a loan. But that grant will be used to build the value chain. The things, the barriers that are preventing you by the copyright issues and other issues you need to deal with. So it will be useful. And already that is happening. The GEMS program, which we have with the World Bank and IFRI, also focuses on 5 sectors, including the creative industry. So we are doing everything we can to help and promote it. I think at the end of this year or at the end of this month, I think someone is opening a studio in Tinapa area, and she's done a lot of work there already. For actors, so you have the infrastructure to support Nollywood. That is happening as well. Now, my last trip to Canada, again, one of the things on the agenda with the Canadian government, because they're very good in Nollywood, is how Canada can support Nollywood in Nigeria. and already we put together a private sector group, Canadians and Nigerians working together on how Canada can help develop the talent and the industry. Everywhere I go, I talk about it. So we are, this is a government that is non-remote friendly and doing everything we can to support you. So you have to be patient and work with us to get us to where you want us to get to. The question about ICT, you will, just in case you're not aware, it is this government that for the first time has a ministry for ICT in Nigeria. For the first time, we've never had a ministry. Now we have a ministry headed by Mrs. Mubala Johnson. And she's doing a great job. Part of that is to develop the skills you're talking about. And we're working with the telecom companies all over the world and the ICT companies all over the world. And some of them, I think Sweden, are working, Sweden or Finland, I think it's Sweden. They're working with us to set up schools for such training, to develop the skill in that sector. Again, the JETS program also supports ICT. And also you see, in almost in every area, we do what we have never done before. That is why, if you ask me, if I came to this job to government, Golden, I thought Nigeria was a great place, okay. It will never be the same again. I was speaking to my niece in Canada recently. She's doing mining engineering. I told her, you know, it's good, you're here, get the exposure, learn more about mining engineering and all that. But I tell you, the greatest asset you have is your green passport. Because by the time you finish and come back, the country will not be the same country you left behind. Every Nigerian, the money is there to be made, and we are starting at a very low level. It's a great country, and the future, I will always say, is very bright. The last question was on the diaspora. Everywhere I go, I give the diaspora group 3 assignments. My number one assignment is that I want them to be a sales agent for Nigerian products anywhere they are. So I have what we call the diaspora export program. Now, if Nigerians cannot market Nigerian products outside Nigeria, nobody can. If you look at, we talk about 500 Nigerians in Holland, there are 2 million Nigerians in the United Kingdom. If you cannot sell Nigerian products to your Nigerian, even just the community, if there are areas where we need to work on it to make it easier for the larger community, like the packaging and all that, you can work with them, set up SMEs on packaging, and also that the products can be packaged properly, so you can sell it more. The Chinese didn't do anything different. Anywhere you go, you see the Chinatown, you see the Chinese market, you see all that. Who are the people in there? It's the Chinese in those countries. So the diaspora group, it's not about whether you want to come to Nigeria. We're not interested. If you want to come to Nigeria, great. But you can be anywhere you are and still contribute effectively to the economy of the country, or more importantly, even make money for yourself. So my message to them, get up, the battle, form yourself into cooperatives. I've challenged them, I want to see the first group that will set up a Nigerian market, or Nigerian mall. Nigerians in Joburg are doing that already, are working on it, and they're getting loans from one of the South African banks. I just taxed the Nigerians in Japan. I did the same thing in Canada. I actually went to a market in Canada. Look at what they're doing. You Nigerians in diaspora, get your step together. My message to you is be a strong advocate and work with us on the diaspora export program. That's number one. Number two, we're talking about investments, investors coming to the country. They want to know more about the country. You know more about the country. There's no reason why you cannot bring them on investment missions into the country. You will not be able to bring them as partners. Whether you have 10%, 15%, 20% of the company, there's opportunity for you. I don't believe in doing things and say, I'm just helping. You have to benefit from it. When you benefit from it, you do it better.
Yes.
You know, that's the predecessor way of thinking. So you can participate in that as well. The last thing we talk about is about SME development. I was in France, my colleague in France is bringing the SME group in France to come to Nigeria and partner with Nigerians in Nigeria. The Turkish group are bringing SMEs in Turkey to come and partner in Nigeria. Japan is thinking about the same thing. Why can't Nigerians work with the SMEs and also bring them and partner with them in the country? So there are many ways that you can participate. And it's through those sorts of things that you can decide when the time is right for you to relocate because you have something to do in the country. Coming to just relocate, and of course, there are areas where we have skills deficiency in terms of where there's deficiency in some of the areas. You can fill those gaps. So I think the time of, we are training people. I just started a program called the UNIDEP. UNIDEP is a University National Enterprise Development Program, where I want university students to understand the meaning of entrepreneurship, the meaning of enterprise development, where I want universities to put together their business plans, work with them and see how they can set up their businesses after they leave the universities. I want university to become employers of labor, not people looking for employment. I'm taking entrepreneurs to go to each of these universities to educate them about how they started. And there are students in Nigerian universities today that are running successful businesses and also studying. So the idea, we're such a big and talented nation. As you said, every Nigerian, the DNA of a Nigerian is enterprise, enterprise, enterprise. I use it differently. I didn't say they love their wife more than money more than that.
Yeah, exactly.
They are enterprising. They are energetic. They are creative. When you see the Africa and put them together, you can always tell who is a Nigerian. Leverage it and use the best of it. That is what I want to catch them young black university. Thank you.
On behalf of the delegate, I want to really thank the Honorable Minister, Mr. Bishop Wanganga.